Oh, baby. That was a certified, bona fide, 100% pure ass whooping. Absolute belt to ass. The Baltimore Ravens pick up a much needed win, 41-10 over the Denver Broncos. Lamar Jackson has his fourth perfect passer rating of his career. And you know what that means? There's only one quarterback in history to ever play the game of football, to ever sit in this league, to ever take snaps on the National Football League stage. There's only one man who has ever had four perfect passer ratings, and is Lamar Demetrius Jackson Jr. Four other people are tied for three. Tom Brady's got three. I think Roethlisberger's got three. I'm not sure the other. A lot of guys tied with three. But now there is one man who stands alone at number one with the most perfect passer ratings of all time. Mr. Lamar Jackson, and the guy's only 27. I mean, this is Lamar Jackson special. Don't let anyone tell you differently. Lamar Jackson is as special as it gets. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about the other guys. Let's go start on offense because, man, was this team cooking again. Obviously, we talked about Lamar Jackson, 16 of 19 for 280 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, a 158.3 passer rating. That's perfect. I don't know why 158.3 is considered perfect. I just get the stats and I say them. So perfect pass rating from Lamar Jackson. Derrick Henry, 23 carries for 106 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also picked up 27 on the yard, 27 through the air on his one catch. Listen, Derrick Henry postgame talked about how today wasn't his best game and that he's got to do better. You know, he said that this is one of those games where even the stats going to look good, but he didn't feel like he played at his best. And I'm going to agree with him. He didn't look like King Henry for a while. The Broncos made it their mission to stop Derrick Henry. That was their mission. It was they were going to let Lamar beat him. It was they would not let Derrick Henry run wild on him. They were great against the run coming in. They're also just an all-around great defense. I think they're top 5 against the pass, top 10 against the run. They weren't. It was very obvious from the start that they did not want Derrick Henry to beat them. But listen, if an off day for Derrick Henry is 23 carries for 106 yards and 2 touchdowns, I take that any day of the week. A bad Derrick Henry game is most people's star performances. Let's not get it twisted. There are running backs who would kill to have Derrick Henry's stats of a off game. Stackhouse, yeah. Talked about this pregame. I did, in fact, wash the jersey. People are saying, did the jersey washing save the Ravens defense? We don't know. I'm not going to take credit. We got Bengals coming up Thursday for the real test. But want to know since the jersey's washed, defense only gives up 10 points. So far, one game into the post-jersey wash, defense is looking good. Lamar and the offense dropped 41. It's looking good. It looks like this team is firing on all cylinders. Firing on all cylinders right now. Justice Hill also had another great game, just an underrated performance. 3 catches for 43 yards, also had 5 rushes for 15. Justice Hill is continuing to show that he is as vital to this Ravens offense as anybody. You see it whether it's in pass protection, him stepping up to take on any defender. Doesn't matter if it's a blitzing safety, blitzing linebacker, free rusher, no matter who it is. Chris Jones one-on-one with the game on the line. Justice Hill is going to stick his head in there and help this team win football games. That's why I got the extension. That's why they keep him around, because he does the little things impeccably.
Let's go. Nelson Aguilar had 1 catch for 29 yards. That was the big one. Mark Andrews coming through, 2 catches for 26 yards. Rashad Bateman, 3 for 25. Ricard with 1 for 3 yards and a touchdown. Spreading the ball out. I mean, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different pass catchers.
And just all around incredible game by Lamar. But let's get to the number one receiver. Mr. Wide Receiver 1. You know, the trade was made for Deontay Johnson, and I don't know how this got construed, how this rumor got started, but people in the media, the talking heads, the internet, there was this talk of, is Zay Flowers' role going to be diminished?
How does Zay respond? How about 5 receptions, 127 yards,
and 2 touchdowns? Zay Flowers once again proving that he is a bona fide number 1 wide receiver in the National Football League. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't get much better than Zay Flowers. This is the kind of wide receiver that the Ravens have been waiting for. I mean, you talk about screen passes, running intermediate routes, deep routes. Zay is finding ways to get open, and then when Zay Flowers gets the ball in open space, it's over. Like, it's just over. When Zay Flowers gets in open space, it's just simply over. He's as good as it gets, and just his shiftiness. You know, this is going back all the way to when he was coming out of Boston College. His rookie minicamp. You know, I remember the first reports of Zay Flowers coming out of rookie minicamp his rookie year were, hey, there's only one way to stop Zay Flowers, and it's to interfere with him. It's to hold him. Because if you let him get shifty, you let him run his routes the way he wants to run them, he's going to beat you. And he's starting to put it together. You are really starting to see Zay Flowers' confidence fly through the roof. Lamar's looking for him. He is the clear number 1 on this team, and it's paying dividends. Another 100-plus yard game in his previous 5 games. Let me read you off Zay Flowers' last 5 games. In Cincinnati, he had 7 receptions for 111 yards. Against Washington, 9 receptions for 132. The game against Tampa, 1 reception for 11 yards. It was the first play of the game, and Zay got hurt. You know, Zay got his ankle rolled up on. He wasn't 100%, so they weren't really sure. I'm giving him a mulligan there. You know, he was very clearly not the same Zay Flowers after that injury on the first tackle against Tampa Bay. Only had that 1 reception for 11 yards. Then the next week against Cleveland, you get 7 receptions for 115. And then today, once again, 5 receptions for 127 and add on 2 tutties. Zay Flowers absolutely cooking. This man is exactly what the Ravens wanted and more. You know, this is when the Ravens, you know, the stigma of the Ravens can't draft a wide receiver. The Ravens don't have the ability to develop guys. It's getting put to the test right now with Zay Flowers, because I'll tell you, you can look at the stats. You can look at the charts, the advanced analytics. You know, Zay Flowers is one of those cases where if you look at the analytics, where you look at the tape, it doesn't matter which you favor, both of them. You look at and you go, this kid's a stud. You look at the metrics, the way he separates, the top speeds, the way he can start and stop, his ability to catch. You look at all the metrics, he looks like a number 1 receiver. Then you go and look at the tape. You look at the highlights. You look at the low points, everything he's doing, his routes. You look at the tape and you go, this is a number 1 receiver. So when the analytics and the metrics and the tape are showing the same thing, 99.9% of times, that means you are a number 1 receiver. When the stats, the tape, and the analytics all point to you being a number 1 receiver, there is a damn good chance that you are a number one receiver, and that's what I believe we have here with Zay Flowers. He has taken that step. After his rookie year, we've seen guys have good rookie years. Good wide receivers have decent years their rookie season with the Ravens. It's not uncommon. But it's would they be able, and especially Zay, to take that next step? It was, okay, Zay, you had a great rookie campaign, but we can't have you be just a good rookie campaign guy. We need you to go out there and help elevate this offense to a new level. And he has done exactly that, whether it's through the screen game, whether it's intermediate routes, short routes, deep routes. Zay Flowers gets open, he catches the ball, and then when the ball's in his hands, the biggest thing is I get upset with him because he loves going east-west. The man loves to go sideways before he goes forward. But if you're that shifty and he started to get better at just getting yards, Zay Flowers is as advertised, if not better, than the Baltimore Ravens had hoped. And it's saying a lot because the expectations for him were sky high. Couldn't agree more, Rick. It really is nice, too, and especially a homegrown. They've had number ones, the Derek Masons, the Steve Smiths, the Anquan Boldens. They've had number ones before. Zay Flowers is a true homegrown dog that has, in front of our eyes, gone from the rookie of, hey, he's having a decent rookie year, to this is a top receiver in the National Football League. And it's as simple as that. That's been a big key for this offense. Yes, you can look and say Derrick Henry getting added opens everything up. Of course it opens everything up. That's why you went out and got him. I love that thing of, the Ravens offense, these guys are only excelling and doing this because they went out and added Derrick Henry. Is that not what they're supposed to do? Are you not supposed to get guys that complement the others to help take them to the next level? That's what Derrick Henry's doing for Zay. And honestly, in some ways, it's what Zay's doing for Lamar and Derrick Henry. He's been a guy that they now have to key in on. All the times that teams were just keying in on, if you stop Mark Andrews, you're good in the passing game. Those days are over. Isaiah Likely had one target today, and it was knocked down at the line. Well, actually got knocked up, was almost an interception. Had one target today. After 2 weeks, it was looking like Isaiah Likely was the top tight end in football. This team has gotten so good at everybody. It's spreading the ball out. It's not relying on one guy to beat them, to beat the other team. This is a full offense. All 11 guys on the field are weapons. Now you add Deontay Johnson to that. You saw him a few times today, didn't get any targets. Actually, on the wheel route, I believe ended up going to Bateman, maybe. Johnson looked good running routes today. I mean, he got open if Lamar was looking his way. That wasn't wide open, but, if the read got to him, I think he would have gotten a catch or two, but he's clearly not that into the offense yet. I'm not going to say like he's not caught up, but he's been here for 4 days now. So continue to learn the offense and getting more involved there. I think we see maybe a slight uptick against Cincinnati. Maybe you see him. He was, we'll see the snap counts. If he was in 10 to 15 plays this week, maybe he's in 15 to 20 next week. And then the week after Cincinnati, after you get the mini bye after that Thursday, I think we see the full Deontay Johnson. He's a part of the offense. He's in there with the rest of the guys, kind of being that number 3, even 2A, if you want to put it that way. So overall, offense was impressive as always. The only thing that I really could complain about was that first drive. They taken the sack after the Ravens went out there and on the second play of the game got the interception. Felt like you stole the momentum off the bat from the Broncos. Unable to get any points there. I was a little nervous. If you watched the pregame show, if you watched Ryan Ripken's show this week, I felt pretty good about this game. I thought I predicted the Ravens win 31-17. Obviously 41-10 is even better in my book. But there was still, after that first drive, are we still going to have to fight off these demons of we need to put away these lesser teams. Even though the Broncos are playing good ball, the Ravens were much better team, and they went out and proved it today. Kieran, let's appreciate it. Can we discuss how the only time? Yeah, let's move over to the other side of the ball. Only time Denver got a touchdown was on a damn trick play. Defense looked noticeably better. I agree. Man, that trick play. Marcus Williams getting mossed by Bo Nix was not a confidence builder that I needed to feel good about this defense. But yeah, the defense played better. I think having a rookie quarterback going up against a rookie quarterback really helped. That 1 4th down where it was 4th and 3 on like their 35, I believe, and Bo overthrew the open receiver. I mean, they had opportunities to score more. Ravens still had way too many open, busted plays. Defense looked better, but the pass rush didn't. It felt like every single play the Ravens were sending 6, 7 guys and no one was coming close. I don't know what was happening there. It just really feels like these guys don't have that true bona fide pass rusher. You want to see Van Noy, you want to see Owe, you want to see Ngakoue, you want to see Madubuike. I think Travis Jones, when he's healthier, obviously makes a big difference. But this is going to be a time where, listen, the trade deadline is Tuesday. We have 2 days, tomorrow and then half a day on Tuesday until 4 o'clock. This is going to be one of those situations where the Ravens, I think, need to make multiple moves. Whether that is, I think one's got to be a pass rusher without a doubt. I'm not sure if they go get help in the secondary. I wouldn't mind adding another interior lineman like a Calais Campbell. But besides that, it's definitely, I didn't feel better about the Ravens pass rush. I did. I think overall as a whole, the defense played better. Roquan Smith still concerns me. He looks slow. On a 3rd down, it was like 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. Bo Nix shook Roquan in the open field out of his shoes. Like, I thought Roquan was going to hit the ground, hit the turf. He got shook so badly. It's just not stuff you're expecting to see from Roquan. And that's what's concerning is you didn't need Roquan to take a step back this year. No, you were hoping Roquan at worst stayed at his current level because that's when this defense is at its best, is when you go out there and you're saying to yourself, Roquan's got everyone playing at their best level. He's the master communicator. He himself is out there making plays, and it just doesn't seem like that's been happening as much this year. It really just doesn't feel like they've necessarily had it all working on defense. And, maybe that you can look at this one of 2 ways. It can be a really bad thing, or it can be a good thing that, hey, the offense hasn't been clicking and yet they're still going out there able to do this stuff. Or defense, the defense hasn't been clicking and they're still able to go out there and do this stuff. Put up a 10-point outing where the only play that they score on is a trick play. They got stops when they needed to. Let's not take that away from them. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. It wasn't all these perfect stops, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. They had times, 3rd down and 6 on your own 4-yard line. You got to get that stop there. They had too many opportunities where 3rd and 10, Cortland Sutton gets a 40-yard bomb. It's little things like that, it's still got to be fixed. On big 3rd downs, the Ravens were sending the house 6, 7 guys, and they weren't getting home. And the issue is it's not when you don't get home. You cannot get home. You don't always send a blitz, and it's not always going to turn into a sack. But what you need to have happen is guys get pressure. Guys get in the face of a quarterback. Guys somehow – we saw it towards the end where Bo Nix, I believe it was maybe Ngakoue, don't quote me on that, broke through on a big 3rd down. Nix has to start leaning back a little bit to drift away from the pressure, throws it quicker than he wanted to. Stevens makes the nice play, and it goes to 4th down. It was moments like that, where you're like, okay, that's what this team needs to do. You need to find a way to get pressure. Because if they're not going to get pressure, we talk about this on the Ryan Ripken show. We talk about this on Kevin and Zach React all the time. Kevin says it. The Ravens, your secondary and your pass rush need to be married. And at the moment, there is as divorced as it gets. That's why I say the biggest thing the Ravens need to do is go get a pass rusher. Get a guy who is going to get after the quarterback, who you can get one-on-one matchups with and win. I don't need them to get a guy. I need them to get the guy. I need you to go get a guy like Azeez Ojulari. I would put in a Jadeveon Clowney, a Zadarius Smith. Go get somebody that when they get a one-on-one matchup, they are going to win. Because all teams are doing right now is they're double-teaming Matabike. They're sliding to make sure Van Noy doesn't beat them. They're seeing if Hamilton is blitzing off the edge. But besides that, it's really only pressures coming on these design blitzes. And that can't be the thing. You got to be able to find a way when you're only blitzing or bringing 4 guys. You have to find a way to get home. You can't be relying. It puts Zach Orr in a horrible situation as a defensive coordinator when these guys are going out there and you have to blitz to get pressure. That's the only way. Kevin said he's going to join in a minute, so honestly wasn't sure his plan. So, so Chuck Smith is still the guy. Not really sure, to be honest, what's going on there. I do think I'm not sure it's a I don't know enough about the pass rush, to be honest, and just like the intricacies of it to know if it's a technique thing to know kind of what's going on there. I don't know if it's something where it's just poorly schemed up where guys are, the guys that are getting opportunities aren't winning their battles. Is it that, or are these guys not getting their opportunities? That's kind of what it all comes down to for me is I'm not sure if it's guys getting opportunities and not winning, or if guys just simply aren't getting opportunities. So it's one of those things where something's got to get fixed. You can't win a Super Bowl without a pass rush. You just simply can't. And especially if guys, God forbid, someone goes down, this can get pretty bad pretty quickly with this pass rush. Some other guys, let's go to some positives. I thought Marlon Humphrey, having him back is just always a positive. He just looks great. Even if half injured on a snap count, he looked good. Then you have guys like Trenton Simpson. Had a great game. I thought Trenton Simpson probably had his best game of the year. He was flying around, making the right plays, not overcommitting. That was my favorite thing. Was there were a few times where he was rushing to the hole on the outside, and usually he would probably overcommit, but he stayed fundamentally sound, broke down, boom, slow down, tack the hip, got it. Davies Robinson got the sack. He's a guy that needs to step up, especially if they are not going to go get a pass rusher, an interior guy. T-Rob's got to step up. He has to. He's one of those guys that I think, are kind of hoping was going to continue to take those steps, especially, he's a good run stopper. But I think in the pass rush game, they want him to take those steps. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out with him. Overall, though, Marcus Williams, I'm going to get Kevin's opinion on this. Start out the game great. You had the nice tackle for at the line, whatever, to start the game out. Then the next time you really heard from him was obviously the Bo Nix moss. I mean, let's call it what it is. Bo Nix absolutely mossed him. And it's not what you wanted as a confidence builder for Williams. But if the Ravens are going to win 41-10, and like Karen said, the only touchdown is a trick play, you're going to take it. It was a 4th down trick play. If they knock that away, you probably only end up giving up 3 points this game. So Ravens defense, give them not perfect. definitely was in their favor. You should have done this against a rookie quarterback, against a team that really hasn't done a lot offensively this year at times. So they did their job. But here's the thing, is doing your job is what wins you games. I don't need the Ravens to be the 2000 Ravens where they're holding everyone to 10 points. It's not what we need. That would be awesome. Would appreciate it. The Ravens don't need that. What the Ravens need is if you can hold teams to under 21 points, the Ravens are going to win every single game. If the Ravens hold their opponent to under 21 points, they're going to win that game. I would guarantee almost 100% of the time. The defense doesn't have to be perfect. They just have to find ways to get off the field in big moments. Get the big strip sack here and there. The big interception. Just something. It doesn't have to be pure domination for 60 minutes. It's just simply finding a way. Give us 2 extra stops. Don't give up the massive play on 3rd 10. Bend, don't break. Don't give up the massive touchdown when you least need it. The Ravens defense took a step in the right direction. Once again, they were supposed to. We want a real test this Thursday at the bank. Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Listen, say what you want about the Bengals. Their defense isn't playing the best this year. Joe Burrow's playing like an MVP. That offense is damn good. So if this team wants to have a test, wants to go out there and show that, hey, this defense is legit, this defense can go help them win a Super Bowl, prove it. Hold Burrow and the Bengals to under 24. Hold them to 24 under. Because what's not going to instill confidence in this is we go out there and we have to win another 40-41 game against the Bengals. That's not going to instill any confidence. You got to build off this if you're the defense. You beat the team that you were supposed to beat. You held the team to 10 points that you were supposed to hold to few points. Build off that confidence and go win on Thursday. And as we talk about winning on Thursday, I'm joined by another guy who watched the game, Kevin Ostreicher. Kevin, little domination for the Birds today. Little domination, a good little win. Good little win. You got everything set up?
Yeah. I was on the wrong mic, so I made sure to fix it this time before I actually spoke. So we're ahead of the game today, man. We're ahead of the game.
It's just like the Ravens. Just like the Ravens.
Yeah. You look, second play of the game, there's an interception, and the whole city of Baltimore rejoices. And
the skies opened.
Yeah. Just you see the light shines down on our Darius Washington as he receives the God's blessings, but then they can't capitalize, and everyone's like, okay, here we go again. Yep. But, from that point on, honestly, it set a tone. I know there's still things to work on defensively, but second half shutout for the defense, and just a good win. And I talked about this over on Locked On Ravens on the post game. Just finished that up about 30 minutes ago or so ago, and a lot of people were talking about how in the chat there, the defense, don't let the win mask the defensive issues. I mean, I'm happy with the way the defense played in this game. Sure, it wasn't perfect. Like, don't get me wrong. The pass rush was terrible again, outside of really Tavius Robinson, and that was it. But I think that you can take this as a win for sure for this Ravens defense. But now you have a couple of days to bolster up your unit if you choose to. I personally would choose to if I'm the Ravens.
I don't think this cannot be the roster we walk into the bank.
No, you got to get somebody. But I would still say that overall solid day for the defense, and then just another historic day for Lamar Jackson and the offense. But the big concern point that I took, and we talked about on Locked On Ravens live stream, was, and I don't know if you've talked about it here yet, but Roquan Smith.
Yep.
And the concern level with Roquan.
Shook out of his shoes by Bo Nix. Out of his shoe. I felt the earth. In the stadium, you felt the earth shake from Roquan getting so bad. I was like, whoa. I was like, what are we doing? I've never seen him that fooled. Like, in the open field on if that was Lamar, if that was Jaden Daniels, he gets shook out by, whatever, man. You got
that happened. Bo Nix, give him credit. He's a good runner. This isn't like Bo Nix doesn't run. He is a scrambler. He's not a Lamar Jackson. Jaden Daniels will burn you to the outside and beat you there, but he knows when to take off and he does well. Yeah, no excuse to get shook like that by Bo Nix.
Yeah, and Bo has a little bit of a deceptive speed to him, but it feels like on those plays, it's those ones that usually a Ravens defender, right as Bo hits the line of scrimmage, was I think, like me personally, I'm so used to seeing a guy like put the arm out and grab the quarterback, and he goes down for a gain of 1 or 2. Yeah. But Bo sped past those guys, and then Roquan just I don't even have any words for what we saw.
It literally, I saw Roquan.
He had 3 tackles today. Three tackles. That's it. 3.
No, obviously he didn't play the 4th. I get that, but still,
right.
That's unacceptable by a guy you're paying that much to be the leader of your team.
Yeah, I think Trenton Simpson needs to play more. I think Baltimore's defensive packages, they've tried to use obviously multiple defensive backs, and with Patrick Queen now in Pittsburgh, you're not married to playing 2 inside linebackers on the field. But I think Trent provides you with his athleticism. He can play like mini defensive back. Like he can play a big safety type role. If they put Trenton back there, obviously not ideal, but I would be like, this isn't like the worst thing in the world if the Ravens were down every single safety they had. And, they had to, had to play Trenton a little bit. I wouldn't have, been like, this is the worst thing that happened to this team. Trenton still has that athleticism, but I thought Trenton played really well. Tavius Robinson played really well. It's been a tough year for Brandon Stevens.
Can the guy turn his head to the ball?
Hey, now, let's give him credit. He turned his head to the ball on that Cortland Sutton play, but it was pass interference in the end zone. So he did turn his head for the ball.
The one play against Cortland Sutton was the perfect encompassment of Brandon Stevens this year. Third down, big third down, you can go get a stop with him like glue. The entire route.
Yeah.
Cortland stops, the ball is just coming there. Brandon in beautiful position. Takes 3 extra steps because he's not looking at the ball, then turns and it's like, it's right there, and then still almost makes a play. It's if he literally just a half second before is like, I should turn my head now, he knocks that one down, I think. But he probably also has 4 interceptions this year.
At least. I mean, look, there are 5 different tales of Brandon Stevens this season this year because the analytics will tell you he's one of the best corners in the league. The eye test will tell you that he is sticking to guys. The eye test will also tell you he cannot turn his head to the ball. And the eye test will also tell you that in big spots, there can sometimes be penalties because he does not turn his head for the ball. So if we had to give an assessment or if I had to do it, Zach, I don't know if you agree with me here. I think Brandon Stevens has probably lost a little money this season compared to what he would have gotten. Well, I shouldn't say that. I should say if he had the year that he had last year, this year, and could stack that in a contract year, he'd be getting $80 to $100 million. Mm-hmm. Now I could see him getting more of a Patrick Queen, maybe 3 for 40, 3 for 50.
Yeah.
Defensive backs they are more lucrative in terms of deals than inside linebackers are. But I could see him maybe, because I think for him, he saw what Nnamdi Madubuike did last year in a contract year and was like, hey man, let me go get my money. But I think while Stevens has been fine this season, it has not been the same as last year. And they kind of need him to be because Marlon kind of worries me with his injuries a little bit. I'm not calling him injury prone, but he's missed a decent amount of time over these last couple of seasons. And obviously was on a pitch count today. Hopefully by the time Thursday rolls around, he'll be a little better. Yeah. But you got to have, Marlon be healthy for this stretch run. He's super important for him.
Yeah. I mean, I like that you brought up, you look at everything with Brandon Stevens and it's even more confusing because that was actually the same analogy I used for Zay Flowers in a different way. I said, Zay Flowers passes all the tests right now. You look at the analytics and the metrics and you're like, he grades out as a number 1 receiver in football. You then look at the tape and you're like, he is a number 1 wide receiver in football. He's a number 1 guy. And so when they merge together, it's, oh, yeah, this is a number one player. You know what you're getting. They have guys like Brandon Stevens, like when you said, you look at the metrics, at the analytics, and you're like, it says he should be locked down. Like he's sticking to these guys. And then you look at it and you're like, he is sticking to them.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, it's when the ball's in the air that's the issue. And it is getting to the point where big third, fourth downs, teams are going to throw to him, even if it's tight coverage, because they know he's going to panic and he's probably going to interfere.
Yeah. It's tough because, like, honestly, in an ideal world, I'm fine with bringing Brandon Stevens back. If this is his level of play for the rest of the season, I'm fine with bringing him back on like a 3 for $50 type deal. Because I think as the number 2 corner, he's great. Now they'd have to decide with that, they have a shot to bring back both him and Marlon. Because I think with the way Stevens played last season, it was they're going to have to choose between Marlon and Brandon next offseason. And whatever that decision is, they're going to have to let the other one go. It's more of a possibility this season that they can bring both back with both on lesser time. Although Marlon's playing some great football. So
yeah,
he's probably going to get, and then Ronnie's going to get a bag too. I think everybody looked at that when he declined that and restructured his deal, chopped that last year off. Everyone's like, oh, well, guess the Ravens are, they're going to save some money because there's no way that he's going to be able to get that. And now you're looking across the league, all this terrible offensive line play and the way Ronnie has played this season and very much at the top of that list, staying healthy.
The number one at the top of the list.
Ronnie, if things keep going this way for him, he might surpass his number from his former deal, and he might be the subject of a very big price war between a lot of teams this offseason. So,
yeah, and that's something people aren't talking about when they talk about how this kind of has to be the year. You got guys like Ryan Stanley that no one's talking about. That's a big hole that they're going to have to fill. People think the offensive line issues are going to improve after this season. Got another thing coming because it's just another rotation, another spot that they're going to have to figure out. Kind of, Kevin, as we start to wrap up, overall, we just talked a lot about the defense. What you weren't on what we were talking about, but overall thoughts on the offense. What kind of stood out to you?
Man, I don't even know where to start. I think you got to start with Lamar. On the offensive side of the ball, he just looks so, and I said this on Locked On Ravens, just so cool, calm, and collected this season.
All times.
Like,
no panic.
He never panics, ever. And to me, it's like he's dropping balls in the breadbasket. That Justice Hill throw was just like peak perfection, just absolute chef's kiss perfection.
I was told he can't throw.
It's crazy because Lamar had last I checked the box score, I think it was 3. He had 3 carries on the day. He was obviously sore for the majority of the week, and the Ravens, I think, made an effort to not run him. And, you have all the out-of-touch people, especially over the early years of his career, saying, oh, well, you just got to, if he just has to throw, then you can beat the Ravens. And that was never true in the first place, by the way. But Lamar is on a historic pace throwing the football. He now has thrown, Jess Rebeck said, thrown for 5 straight 275-plus yard games through the air, which is a Ravens record. He is at the top or near the top of the league in almost every single passing category. And he's doing it being a very low mistake player. He is very smart with the football. The fact that Todd Monken and John Harbaugh have opened up this offense to him is something we did not see during the Greg Roman era. And Lamar didn't have that freedom. Now that he's able to put his full football IQ on his play. Lamar is a very smart person and a very smart football player, right? Lamar sees things that I'm not sure anybody else in this league could see the way he sees it.
Yeah.
And it's him, and then obviously Derrick Henry. And I thought Denver did a decent job at stopping Derrick Henry on early downs, but they were so lethal, Baltimore was, on second down. Baltimore only had 8 third down attempts the entire game because they were so lethal on second down when Derrick Henry got stuffed, or on first down opportunities. They didn't need to get to third down. And the thing, Zach, I'll sum it up this way. When Denver kicks the field goal before the half, and the Ravens got the ball back with 54 seconds left, 59 seconds, whatever it was.
59 seconds, I believe.
Something along those lines. there was no doubt in my mind the Ravens were going to score, whether it be a field goal or a touchdown.
I thought they were going to get a field goal.
Yeah.
I didn't think Zay was going to do that. I was
unreal.
I was yelling. I was like, sideline. It was. I felt like the famous Brian Billick where he's yelling at Ed Reed. He's like, "Go down, Ed. Go down, Ed. No, Ed. No, Ed. Go, Ed. Go,
Oh,
Ed."
yeah.
I was like, down, Zay. I was like, get down. Save the clock. I was like, oh, get out of bounds. Get out. Go down the end zone. Get in the end zone, Zay. And you felt the whole way. It was like he was caught in between three different guys. Then he was suddenly in open field. And then once he's in open field, it's over.
Yeah.
So call it, because Zay Flowers is finding pay dirt.
It was like that. No. Yes. Like that type of play.
I was like, Zay, stop juking, Zay. I was like, just save the clock, Zay. Run, Zay. Run.
It reminded me of, it was the Aaron Rodgers meme, the fan, all those years ago. It was like they left Rodgers too much time, and it was like 30 seconds or something, or a minute and 11 or whatever it was. And I thought of that meme when Denver scored. I'm like, they left too much time for Lamar. Like they left too much
time. Especially the way Lamar's playing right now.
And the Ravens, it's chunk play. Baltimore averaged over 13 yards per pass in this game. They're not like, the typical deep passing game is, you go verts and you throw a ball up and that ball hangs in the air for 30, 40, 50 yards. The Ravens' deep passing game is you get a guy running a 10-yard out or a 10-yard in or running 15 and then coming back. And then that guy just picks up like 20 yards after the catch.
Yeah.
And like that is their deep passing game this season, because Zay in the open, I feel so bad for defenders who have to face this Ravens offense, man, because Lamar just jukes you out of your shoes, and then he throws it to Zay, and Zay just makes you look unbelievably silly. And then Derrick Henry is just bulldozing it, and you're diving at his shoelaces to try to tackle him because you don't want him to hit you.
Nobody wants to tackle that man.
Yeah.
So he had 32 yards, I believe, 37 yards maybe going into halftime.
Mm-hmm.
It was the second carry of the third quarter. He gained, I think it was 12, 13 yards or something. And I literally looked around the room and I was like, they gave up. I was like, we won. I was like, because you can go up there and you can make your game plan to stop Derrick Henry, but you can 23 times they handed it to him. And you can only tackle that man. You can only have enthusiasm running up to hit that man so many times. And you could tell in the third quarter that Denver defense, the last thing they wanted to do was get the ball, see Derrick Henry with the ball. That's why I love that screen pass call, because it immediately got him into open space, immediately got him to the corners, and they are just, like you said, they're just tossing themselves at his legs, hoping to trip him up. There's no attempt to take him down.
And we're not even in, like, today was a nice day. Like, today was a, little chill in the air, I caught some of the live stream after the fact. You said it was a nice little fall football weather type of day.
Yeah, it was feeling good.
When these games hit 20 degrees, 25 degrees, and it's December cold weather football, and you've been trying to stop this Ravens offense, and late in the game you have Derrick Henry running at you, I'm just saying, here's your lane.
Yep.
Go ahead. Here you go, King. Run right through. I'm not tackling him. I'm making a business decision.
That's my ass is running up to tackle him.
Yep.
Ain't no way. And also, I just looked up and I see we're 46 minutes into the stream, which means I have to bring it up. It doesn't go on the stat sheet anymore because of a stupid flag. But Nick Moore chase down tackle, the Nick Moore chase down tackle.
Do you have a video, or you just
no? I don't. I'm gonna have to find it. We'll check.
We'll have to bring it up tomorrow.
Without doubt. And kind of final thing, I just wanted to Kieran been asking about a few times. Tucker, how are we feeling about it? Definitely not his best game. Definitely going to ask Nick about that tomorrow. But this is not a great day for Tucker, even though didn't miss any. Few off the uprights, a few sneak in. Not the confidence right down the middle. It strays slightly to one side, and you're like, what happened there? Justin Tucker we're used to.
Yeah, I mean, this has been such, I guess I'll call it like a slap in the face, like wake up call because obviously, like, watching the team, covering the team, being a fan, like, this is something that we have not had to deal with forever.
For 12 years.
Forever. And, we have just had so much confidence in Tucker going out there, 55 yards, easy money. Who cares? It's Justin Tucker. Now it's kind of like there's a little bit of nervousness when he comes out there. Obviously, doinked the extra point in, had one, as you mentioned, sneak in there, just barely sneak in there. And, I guess the one thing that keeps me going with Tuck is I think he lives for clutch moments. And so in clutch moments, I still think he's the same old Justin Tucker. But, we can't sit here, Zach, and say that, he's having a great season or, we have the same level of trust in him that we did last season or the season before. We have to be realistic and honest. And this has been the worst Justin Tucker season we have seen. And, it's disappointing. Now, again, luckily this happened in a game where Tucker didn't miss any. And we're not talking about him missing any kicks. And it really doesn't matter if you make or miss them. They doink in or they don't. As long as they get in there, they get in there. But we know the struggles from 50 plus over the last season and a half now. And you just hope he can bounce back. So that's kind of where I am on that. And I saw Laura when I got in here ask about needs. I don't know if you've talked any trade or if you did.
No, I mean, I said pass rush. I said that's what they need.
Yeah, definitely pass rush. Calais Campbell would be a home run on the interior. Jadeveon Clowney. Za'Darius I think he's all but going to Detroit. I don't think Cleveland would trade him in division anyway, especially because he has another year in his contract. So I think Jadeveon or Calais are the two that I'm highlighting for the Ravens. There are other, Azeez Ojulari is a name from New York that could be on the radar, but apparently Baltimore's looking at pass rushers. So, they have
should be
less than 48 hours between now and Tuesday to get it done. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So are you in the belief that you think that that's what happens?
Yeah, I think they have to. Especially if they went out there and the pass rush looked dominant and they had 5 sacks that, actually looked good and, guys were getting home consistently, you could maybe make an argument, but they didn't do that today. Bo Nix had a lot of time to throw the ball. So I think they definitely should and have to.
Yeah, I agree. And, the way I put it is, like you said, Kevin, secondary and pass rush have to be married. They're still divorced right now. And you saw it because you saw plays when the Ravens finally did get pressure. What did lead to incompletions? Even if the guy was starting to break open, it's because you couldn't sit back there. You couldn't. You can't sit down there and wait for that guy to get open. You got to make the decision. You saw they targeted Sutton, I think, twice. It was right at the end of the third quarter on that 3-and-out. Finally got some pressure on him. Incomplete pass off the rip because you look there. He's looking for Sutton to make his move. Sutton's not ready to make his move yet, but the pass rush is there, so you got to throw it. If he would have had another second, I'm sure that ends up being a completion. But that's why it's so big that if you want to fix your secondary right now, I think we're both in the understanding or thought process of it's not necessarily a talent issue in the secondary. I think I also love that I felt like today they didn't just sit in too high and then go off that. They started to actually show different looks.
Yep.
And because they love the Ravens this year, they're just playing too high or they're just setting up in too high and then moving to what they do. And it's leaving a lot of holes open for them trying to disguise. They didn't disguise every play this week. And it's simple things. Do the simple things right, and this defense will keep improving.
Yep, as long as you do that. And again, maybe you go and add a guy or two. I think you do. But we'll see on Tuesday if they do, because I think a little reinforcement, little juice would take this unit a long way.
I agree. And if anything happens on Tuesday, we'll be here to talk about and break it down. But Kevin, any final thoughts to this game? Ravens win 41-10.
They needed it. If we were sitting here talking about a team with 4 AFC losses through 9 weeks, wouldn't have been great. But now you got to go in short week turnaround. Cincinnati, Joe Burrow just had a Burrow 5, if you want to call a Joe 5. You want to call it that. 5. So they're coming to Baltimore. We know Lamar Jackson, John Harbaugh in prime time are just absolutely lethal, but got to get the job done against Joe Burrow and company. That offense is good, and maybe they'll get T. Higgins back this week. I have a feeling that's why they rested him this week. But that Cincinnati defense is still kind of really bad.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens Thursday. We'll see what happens Tuesday. But if anything does go down, we'll be here to talk about on Kevin and Zach React. Hit that like and subscribe button on your way out if you enjoy the content. The Ravens win 41-10 over the Denver Broncos, move to 6-3. Got the Bengals coming up on Thursday. We'll be live right after the game. Ryan Ripken Show will be live beforehand, so we will see you then. And as always,